An estimated 500 people gathered for the spectacle of Justice of the Peace John Roach Burke's deposition of witnesses to events surrounding the murder of Ann Beaton. It was a Monday, but work was left untended as a crowd gathered to learn more about the most shocking event the region had ever seen. Justice Burke was Irish and a Catholic, a wealthy businessman, operator of one of the ferries across the Hillsborough River, and an expansive landowner. He had little in common with the people he was interviewing, and he was notorious for standing by and allowing local election violence in 1846 and 1847. This battle between Irish immigrants attempting to block Scots from the polls resulted in at least one death, and came to be known as the Belfast Riot. John McDougall, the Orwell coroner, and the man to perform the first autopsy of Ann Beaton, was one of the two candidates supported by the Irish in the 1846 election. Interviews took place in the local schoolhouse.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? When did you last see the deceased?
On the Thursday. May 12th, that is. She left the house. She didn't tell anyone where she was going, nor when she'd return. I didn't hear anything about her until she was dead. But I thought that she was out on a walk with Sandy McPherson on the road, Mary Habba Road.
Who told you that she was dead?
My husband.
When did you return?
I was gone since Tuesday, the 10th day of May, to the following Friday, the 13th, to work with William Carr. I arrived back home at about 5 o'clock, and my wife, she tells me that my sister, Ann, she'd been gone since the day before, said that she'd gone someplace.
You didn't go to find her? What happened on Saturday the 14th?
I went out to finish putting up the fence. I grabbed a handspike. I started. I believe it's Archie Matheson, or someone in his family is what done it.
Why did Ann Beaton come to your house?
She was to my house to see about a web of cloth I was weaving for her brother. I asked her which way she was going home. She said she'd better stick to the main road.
The Murray Harbor Road?
When I heard she was killed, I knew at once it was Archie Matheson. I don't trust none of the family.
Who told you?
Sandy told me.
Sandy? Archie Matheson's son?
Yeah,
Go on.
this was last Sunday.
The 15th? The day the coroner left?
He said that his father heard a noise in the mill, same as if there was boards thrown about the mill. I asked him what night, and he says the other night, but wouldn't say which one. but said his father went to see what was the matter and saw that everything was all right.
Burke noted 30 interviews. Anne had been seen on the road walking at 4 p.m. toward the McPhersons by Jane Gillis, a neighbor. Sandy and Alexander, two of Archibald Matheson's sons, had spent the evening at the McLeod's house along with their sister Flora, who spent the night. When Alexander and Sandy returned home around 10 p.m., they were talking excitedly about horses, according to their brother Murdoch, who was home at the time. According to Alexander, his father mentioned to him that he had been to the mill and seen nothing there. A dread came over him. His mother mentioned that Ann Beaton had passed through the settlement on her way to Donald McPherson's house.
What time did you go to bed?
It might have been between 10 and 11 o'clock that I went to bed. Thursday night.
What were you wearing at that time?
Old working clothes.
When did you last see her?
Ann Beaton.
The deceased?
Aye, the deceased. She comes to the house, and I tell her to wait till I've got some tea. But she said she had to go on to the McPhersons. I told her she'd better stay all night. She told me she had too much to do the next day. I never heard anything about the mill or a noise until 2 or 3 days ago.
When cross-examined, Margaret grew faint and had to be removed. Her son Murdoch also grew weak and sickened when asked what time his father went to bed.
At about 7 o'clock, I went to the house nearby with some special constables and demanded Archie Matheson's everyday clothes, to which I was answered by his daughter, stating that there was no other clothes than what he had on. I ordered a search, but nothing could be found. I then placed 4 constables in charge of the house until the next morning. Inquiry continued. Does your husband have any other clothes?
My husband has put no other cloth on him this month other than what's on him now.
What time did Donald come home?
About 10, I would say.
Did you talk with him?
No. And I wore another dress on Thursday, other than this here. My principal ailment is a toothache and a pain. Here. I haven't even well since April last. Mrs. Beaton took up a shovel.
Christy Beaton?
Aye. A shovel or a fire iron to strike her. Anne, some time ago. She told me she was frightened of her. She told me this last winter at my house. I'm sorry. I'm very weak.
I told my wife to keep Ann from the house.
The deceased?
Yes. Caused some ill will with the neighbours. Her being, But she don't listen to me, and she wouldn't let me drive her off.
Who do you think could have committed the murder?
I don't think Murdoch, maybe his wife?
Do you have a shingling axe?
No, not never. Just me own hammer and chisel.
Did you go to the mill on Thursday night?
I heard the mill going on, making noise. Then I went down and found that all was right.
Was this Thursday the 12th?
I don't know which day. Some day before she was discovered. I think a woman could have done as much harm as was done her.
It was some time ago. I was out looking for the cows, and he followed me into the woods, and I asked him what for, and he said that there was a partridge nest that he wanted to show me. But I told him that I was in a hurry. He put his hands around my body. I threatened him and made him let me go. And then I went home.
Two other women in the settlement accused Archibald Matheson of physical assault. J.R. Burke took Archibald, Margaret, and their son Murdoch into custody and transported them to Charlottetown. When they came before the grand jury in Charlottetown, the examiner reports, in the case of the parties who were charged with the murder of Ann Beaton, whose body was found dreadfully mutilated on the Murray Harbor Road sometime since, no bill was found. Presumably, they were released with no further charges. At some point, the murder weapon was discovered concealed under a fence. It was a grubbing hoe belonging to the Matheson family. This appears to have happened after the deposition, since Burke is still asking questions about a shingling axe in his interviews. The body of Ann Beaton, which had been exhumed for a second autopsy in conjunction with the investigation, was buried in an unmarked grave. Andrew MacPhail recounts in The Master's Wife. In the summer of 1930, a woman came to see us. She was daughter of the man upon whose land the body was found, and was the second person who had looked upon the spectacle, her age at the time being 13 years. She conducted us to the spot and supplied the minutest details of the tragedy that had occurred 73 years ago. It is not probable that anything further will ever be known of the cause or circumstances. Murdoch and Christy Beaton's 13-year-old daughter was not interviewed in the investigation. What became of Ann Beaton's young son is unrecorded, and few, if any, know exactly where her body rests today. And yet her name and story are well known, particularly in the region where she once lived. Despite every effort to the contrary, she refuses to be forgotten.